Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm on the street, and this is our setup of Life on Linux. Now, I did try and start this series at the beginning of this week. It is Wednesday right now, and, OpenSUSE didn't go as planned. This entire thing is supposed to be about how Linux is just as easy to use as Windows. Hopefully, though, we are downloading KDE right now. I'm having to use this laptop here that I'm actually supposed to be fixing, but I can't fix it until this thing's working. So I am downloading Kubuntu there, and yeah, hopefully Linux can redeem itself. I don't know, man. There are a ton of different distributions. I've only used OpenSUSE one time, and it was a great experience the first time. But yeah, I am downloading Kubuntu 12.10. I thought about going with the long-term release again, but I thought, you know what? When I went with OpenSUSE, I did go for OpenSUSE rather than just SUSE, which is the, server version of the software. I did go with the desktop version, so I'm getting the desktop version of Kubuntu. And yeah, I'll install it. I am recording in 720p with my iPod now because my phone ran out of space, and I have nowhere to dump the files because this thing isn't working. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now, and stay tuned. I have burned our Kubuntu disk, and I know that this video is going to be primarily for our newer Linux users, so not our experienced Linux users. So yeah, I will be going through a few basics, some, basic differences, some of the biggest differences that are noticeable between Linux and Windows. I've already backed all of this up. We'll go ahead and restart the computer into our Kubuntu installation. And again, as soon as that starts up, I'll let you know what Kubuntu is. I'll tell you right now, Kubuntu is based off of a Linux distribution called Ubuntu. And, yeah. A Linux I'll just start now. Windows, there's only one Windows, but there are multiple kind of versions of Windows. There's like Home Premium and Ultimate. It's not exactly like that with Linux. We have what's called different Linux distributions. You see, Linux is, it's not really a complete operating system. It's basically, if you've ever seen in the old movies with computers like Jurassic Park or something, with the computers that have like the, the terminal, the black screen with the white text on it, that is a command line interface for a computer, and that is what Linux sort of is. Linux is actually just a kernel, and other things have to build off of that kernel. So different distributions, like Debian and Red Hat are the two main ones. They build off of that Linux kernel, and they add all of the graphics. They add support for your mice and keyboards and everything. And Ubuntu is actually based off of Debian. And there are a whole lot of distributions like Linux Mint and Kubuntu that are based off of Ubuntu. And they all use something called a .deb package system. You know how when you want to install something in Windows, you'll have a .exe file? Well, yeah, in Linux, there are two main kinds of those. There are DEB package systems, which everything based off of Debian uses. And also, there is, I'm just going to install Kubuntu here. There is RPM-based distributions, which I actually prefer RPM-based distributions. That is why I originally put OpenSUSE on here. Alright, we'll try for now. Because, yeah, I want to get connected to the internet before we start installing. But, yeah. So, that's what Linux distributions are. I went over the package systems. The difference between DEB and RPM-based distributions are not going to be really relevant to new users. All you really need to worry about is just, oh wow, look at that. Oh, I already have wireless support. I don't need to install it. I thought I had to install it. Okay, let me put in my Wi-Fi password right here. And I know it seems like I'm jumping in here, but I'll explain all of this to you. but how are we doing on the camera? Once again, I'm sorry I'm recording a CRT, I really am, but, you know, you can't use screen recorders when you're installing operating systems. So, alright, connected. Install Kubuntu. So, yeah, that's what Linux distributions are. Now, the difference between Ubuntu and Kubuntu is something that's going to confuse you even more. They run on different desktop environments. And what desktop environments are they're basically what processes, you know, all graphics. Your mouse, they give you, you know, front ends to your programs. Everything that you click goes through your desktop environment. And the two main, like, biggest, most popular Linux desktop environments right now are GNOME, that's G-N-O-M-E, and that is what Ubuntu is based off of, and there's also KDE, and KDE is what Kubuntu is based off of. Kubuntu is just Ubuntu with, you know, KDE pre-installed instead of GNOME. So, yeah, that's going to get confusing. You can have multiple desktop environments installed on the same installation. I'll show you how to do that. You can actually have it to where you log into your KDE thing, and then you log out, and then you can just log into GNOME, and all of the same files are going to be there, because you need to understand, it's not the actual operating system that changes. It's just the layer between you and your operating system that changes when you change desktop environments. When you install programs in Windows, that's exactly what you're doing. You're installing programs, usually with a .exe installer. Well, in Linux, things are a little bit different. You don't install programs per se, rather you install packages. And programs, or applications, whatever you prefer to call them, they are usually consisting of more than one package, and they usually have things called dependencies. What dependencies are they are packages that a certain package depends on. So usually you'll have a nice good package manager that will, you know, make sure that all of your dependencies get installed when you install a program. And one of the great things about Ubuntu over OpenSUSE is OpenSUSE you had to do a lot of the dependencies by hand, whereas Ubuntu and therefore Kubuntu actually has a really good package manager. It's called the Ubuntu Software Center, and it actually is the easiest installation process consumers have ever seen on Linux. So yeah, that is another plus side of me using Kubuntu. I wanted to use OpenSUSE because I prefer the more technical aspect of things, but, you know, if anybody out there is planning on playing along at home, then, yeah, you're probably going to want Ubuntu or Kubuntu or something based off of Ubuntu that's nice and easy. Now, there are a few, you know, these are just common knowledge sort of things that I'll go over. Ubuntu and Kubuntu are actually made by the same people. However, there are other distributions based off of Ubuntu, like Linux Mint, that are not made by the same people. And that's completely legal to do because the Linux kernel is free. It's actually copyrighted, or as some people call it, copylefted, under the GNU General Public License. So, yeah, basically what that says is you can do whatever you want with the Linux kernel. You can modify it however you want, and you can distribute it however you want, as long as you're not making money. Now, there are some companies... I'm sorry this is taking so long, by the way. Alright, there we are. We're all loaded up, and we are not using guided, because that would suck for me. We're using manual. You'll probably want to use guided, though. So, I'm using manual. Once again, you will probably want to use guided. So, yeah, we're going to format the partition. Use partition as ext4 journaling system, mount root there. Alright, so that should be SDA1, SDA2, alright, so 126 gigs. Once again, you probably won't have to use or do this. Change ext4 journaling file system and no, not /user /home. Format the partition. Okay, let's see. We are not formatting our NTFS partition. That's where all of our data is stored. All of it. So yeah, we're not touching that. We're not touching this. Don't even click on it. Okay. Alright, we're not using the NTFS partition. Just keep telling myself that so that nothing can possibly go wrong. Alright. Here goes nothing. So yeah, you guys are probably gonna want to click guided there. I was right about to say something that would have been useful. Oh, alright, let's go ahead and set up. Automatically detects I'm in Chicago. That's great. I'm not actually in Chicago, I'm in St. Louis, but it always says I'm in Chicago for Linux installers, you know. English US, yeah. Wait. Yeah, whatever. User info, your name, Jacob Kaufman. Username, your username has to be all lowercase letters in Linux. And Max, too, so. i7 workstation. Require my password to log in. Of course I want to require my password to log in. Thank you for choosing Kubuntu. Alright, so yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to really go over before we start the installation. Or, we've already started the installation. Once it completes, I will switch over to a desktop recorder so that you won't see these lines going across the screen like that. So yeah, just trying to think if there's any more general, you know, common... Oh, I was talking about packages, wasn't I? So yeah, if you're lucky, you'll have a good package manager that'll manage packages for you. Ubuntu makes it super duper easy to install programs, manages all the packages in the back end. So yeah. A quick note about this. This series is called Life on Linux. It is not called Life on Open Source Software. So you see, like, we've got Google's Chromium. Chromium actually is not made by Google. I don't think it is. It might be. But Google Chrome is based off of Chromium. I think it is made by Google. But yeah, Chromium is the open source version of Chrome. Now, remember how I was saying that Linux is licensed in such a way... That was what I was talking about. That Linux is licensed in such a way that it's, you know, the only thing that you're not allowed to do is profit off of the kernel itself. Well, that's basically what open source software is. And a lot of people use Linux because they like the principle of open source software. Well, here's the deal. I'm not exactly satisfied with the current, you know, copyright situation for in terms of software. But I am not a huge advocate of open source software. I more prefer Linux because it's, you know, developer friendly and it's more stable, it's more secure, which I will demonstrate all three of those things and more in this series. But yeah, that's why I use Linux. I don't use Linux explicitly because it is open source like some people do. So I will be installing some proprietary software such as Google Chrome. I will be installing proprietary video card drivers. I will be installing the proprietary Wi-Fi. Actually, no, I won't because this one works perfectly fine. But yeah, I will be installing proprietary software on here. So yeah, just, you know, I don't know. Oh, because I'm installing proprietary software, there are probably going to be copy marks. What would that be, like a cross between a copyright and a trademark? I think I just found the solution to the copyright problem. Copy marks. No. There will probably be copyright shields all over this video and all Life on Linux videos. I'm sorry about those, but I mean, yeah. There's really not anything else to say, but, you know, sorry. Oh, right, I was going to tell you, I know there are some companies such as Novell produces SUSE, and also Red Hat sells Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and it may seem like they actually sell Linux. However, that's not actually selling Linux. What they're doing is they are selling support for Linux. That is why they're allowed to do that, even though Linux is copylefted. Now, you can tell that they're not actually selling Linux because there's actually something called CentOS. What they're, like, if you go to CentOS's homepage, it says Red Hat rebranded. So yeah, they literally take Red Hat, they rebrand it to get rid of all the proprietary trademarks, but there are no copyrights, there are only trademarks, because Linux is copylefted. So yeah, they just remove all the trademarks and they give it away for free. So yeah, that's how you can always pretty much tell that, yeah, those companies are not actually selling the Linux distribution themselves, they're just selling support for the Linux distributions. The company that makes Ubuntu is called Canonical. And like I said, Ubuntu is based off of Debian. However, it is pretty much the most popular, in terms of consumers at least, most popular version of Linux ever. So yeah, I'm very happy with Ubuntu. It's not always the best for me. Sometimes I do prefer more technical things. Sometimes those more technical things get on my nerves though. And that's when I just use Ubuntu. I actually have another video on my channel, why I can always count on Ubuntu. So yeah. I hope I'm being clear enough. I know this video won't be the most exciting one in the series, unless you're like really into this whole Linux thing. But, I mean seriously guys, if you, I don't know, if you have any questions at all, please just leave them down in the comments. I might write some stuff over at my website, nerdonthestreet.com, about life on Linux. I'm kind of promoting this thing to heck. This is going to be my main thing for, yeah, like over 3 months. So, yeah, I'm really devoting a lot to life on Linux. So, please feel free to ask any questions you have along the way. You know, it's actually a good thing that I didn't make a video for Life on Linux about installing just plain old Ubuntu, because I think I already have an installing Ubuntu video on my channel. So yeah, that actually would have been really repetitive. Oh, one more thing. We will be installing, I'm not sure if I walked you through this or not. I think it was in the OpenSUSE video, which we're not using anymore because OpenSUSE went plop. So yeah, I will be installing, here's the setup right now, and I'll draw a diagram and place it on the screen for you. The setup of my computer's hard disks. I've got a 128GB SSD that I'm using, like 120 gigabytes of that for my root partition, which is basically programs in the operating system. And I'm using the rest of that for swap space, which is basically like RAM, but on your hard drive. I also have a 32GB SSD. Right now that is completely, completely formatted, and I am going to be using VirtualBox. I'll be showing you how to use VirtualBox to install a Windows XP virtual machine inside of Linux. You can actually run Windows inside of Linux just like you can run Windows inside of Mac, as long as you have a valid key for Windows. So yeah, you can run Linux inside of Windows too, but that doesn't work quite as well. But yeah, I will be doing that. So I will have a backup Windows XP thing, because there are, you know, plenty of programs that, like Fraps, there's no Linux version of, but there's something called GLC that it's an alternative. I will be stressing my alternative options as much as I can. However, I'm going to restart this, by the way. But yeah, however, there are some programs, such as the software that I use to make my theme song for this channel, that only run on Windows. So yeah, sometimes you just have those situations. So yeah, I will be using that 32 gigs for Windows XP Virtual Machine, just for when I need it. And this isn't like me being completely cut off from Windows, because I do have a school-issued laptop that I will be using Windows on, because I can't do anything to it without getting in trouble. Alright, so when you boot your computer for the first time in Kubuntu, you don't even... Oh, wow, I thought we would get grub. We didn't even get grub. No grub for us. No, grub is Grand Unified Bootloader is what it stands for. Alright, KDE Plasma Workplace, whatever. And where's the sound? There's a sound. Alright, so yeah, this is KDE. And yeah, I will walk you through all of this during, during the screen recording, so that you don't have to look at these lines going up and down. But yeah, that was setup of, of KDE Linux. KDE Linux, that would be something. Kubuntu Linux. So yeah, once again, that was setup of Kubuntu. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything, that's what the comment section below is for. So please, please don't hesitate to use that. Yeah, just anything. I need user interaction for this channel thing to work. There was something else I was going to say. I'm not sure. Oh, right. I'm sorry that I recorded the CRT. I'm sorry. Just, yeah. Yeah, I will be using a screen recorder the rest of the time. I'm going to install that right now and get started with our Life on Linux. So yeah, I'm Jacob Kaufman. I'm there in the street. See ya.